This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, welcome everyone. It's almost time for Bedikas Chametz. Let's discuss briefly in depth the custom that has become widespread to put out the 10 pieces of bread during Bedikas Chametz. The Ramah in Siman Reish Taf Lamed Beis Sif Beis brings down the Minhag to put out pieces of Chametz where the Bedikas will find them, so that the bracha will not be a bracha levatala. Apparently the Ramah is saying there is an opinion that if the Bedikas does not find any Chametz, then his bracha of Al Bir Chametz is a bracha levatala, and therefore, in order to create a situation where the bracha has what to be chal on, we put out bread, this way you find something. However, the Ramah concludes that if you did not put out the bread, it's not ma'akev, because a person's das, when he makes the bracha, is to be mavayer if he finds anything. However, the Taz says that anyway it's not a bracha levatala. The bracha is going on the beer that you'll do tomorrow. The night of Pesach, the morning of Pesach, the night of Erev Pesach, the morning of Erev Pesach, a person's eating chametz. Certainly there'll be leftover from dinner and from breakfast that you'll be able to burn. But the beer starts through the Bedikas. And therefore it is not necessary to put out the bread, because even if you don't put out the bread, you'll have what to burn. In fact, the Taz concludes that it's better not to, that you should not put out the bread. Why? Because we're concerned you might not find a piece. You know how often it's happened? People put out the 10 pieces, and they're lucky if they could find 8 of them. Nowadays, people have to put GPS systems on their pieces of chametz, otherwise, you never know if you're going to find them. Therefore, the Taz says it's wrong to put out the chametz. Look in the Ber Heitev, he brings the name of the Tamim Deim, that it's a Minhag Nashim. It's a Vaibish Azach. It's baseless and it should not be done. However, the Mishnah Berurah brings down from the Chok Yaakov, Ein Kedai Levato Minhag Yisrael, and it says the Mishnah Berurah, look in the Chok Yaakov for reasons for the Minhag. So take a look in the Chok Yaakov, in Ois Yodalet, he brings from the Mahari, and Siman Kuf Tzadi Gimel, that the reason why to put out the 10 pieces is, since if you don't find any chametz, you won't have what to burn. Now, it won't be a bracha levatala, but if you don't have what to burn, you'll forget to be mavatel the next day, and it's critical to be mavatel. This way you have what to burn, and you'll remember to be mavatel. Now, the Chok Yaakov writes, in his opinion, the reason for the minhag is because if a person searches for chametz and he doesn't find anything at first, he'll throw in the towel, and he'll give up hope, and he won't do a thorough bedika. This way we reward the looker with easy pieces of chametz to find, and that will spur him on to look more, and it's like a psychological ploy to encourage someone to look carefully, because he's constantly rewarded in his search by finding the obvious chametz, which is quite interesting. This is because the person knows he's going to find it, because the person himself put it there. But apparently we see from the Chok Yaakov that even a self-creative incentive program, which is really in a way meaningless, because you found it, because you put it there, that is enough to give a person the motivation to continue looking. Well, says the Shulchan Aruch Harav, in Siman Taf Lamed Beis, Sif Katan Yud Aleph, Kfar Nispashet HaMinhag, to put out the pieces of bread, says the Shulchan Aruch Harav, Minhag Yisrael Tairahi. Says the Mishnah Berurah, V'gam ha'ari kasav minhag zeh. The Ari brings down this minhag, and according to the Ari, one should dafka put out 10 pieces of bread, but be very careful, says the Mishnah Berurah, that you don't misplace one of the pieces of bread. Let's just end off the Sharei Tzion of the Mishnah Berurah writes, this whole discussion was back in the day when people's houses may have been dirty at the time of the Bedikas. But nowadays, when people's houses are quite clean, going into the Bedikas, it could be putting out the bread is not just the minhag, it could be nowadays it becomes me'ikar hadin. Otherwise, what are you looking for? And the bracha, in fact, may really be a bracha levatala. Tami HaMinhagim brings in Ois Taf Pei Aleph, the minhag to put out the pieces of bread, to demonstrate a certain humility, that as well as you cleaned, it's not perfect. Because in general, as much as we're masakin ourselves, we're still lacking. And by putting out the pieces of bread, it shows as much as a person is masakin and is menake, as cleans, there's always more to do. Nobody is without a mum. Nobody is perfect. No house is perfect. No house is perfectly clean. And the Tamei HaMinhagim brings down the same way there are 10 koichos of Kedusha, corresponding to it are the 10 koichos of Tumah that need to be eradicated from the world. Interesting, in the Sefer Oitzer Shalem, Minhag Yisrael, he brings on page 128, in the name of the Beis Aron, the Sfarim of Haman, the decrees of Haman were written when? On Yud Gimel Nisan. They were written the day before Erev Pesach, Yud Gimel Nisan, to destroy them. And who were the scribes? The Aseres B'nai Haman. And therefore, as a zecher to that, immediately in the evening we destroy the 10 pieces of Chametz, we search for it to eradicate Haman and all that he has to offer. So while there is halachic discussion whether it is a valid minhag, it has become nispashed and been niskabel by the Poskim, Shulchan Aruch Harav, and the Mishnah Berurah, v'kach nohagul Yisrael. And as the Shulchan Aruch Harav says, in this circumstance we apply the rule, minhag Yisrael Torah. So, Hatzlach Harab and the Bedika, in the Bior, and Chag Kosher V'Sameach.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.